Episode 339. Microsoft SharePoint is going to have a new content pane, and that's going to be important to get your head around because it might change the way that you create pages. Teams is going to start detecting and hiding channels that you don't use much. Let's talk about that. And Clipchamp has got this amazing, beautiful new brand kit way of getting consistency across your videos. Looking forward to talking about that too. This is episode 339. Come and join us.
Come and join us. Hello, everyone. I think Daryl did a great job kicking us off.
And you were worried about the energy and the mindset we had.
I was not worried about any. Basically, while we are talking, Daryl interrupts a conversation we're having, saying, "Press and record." I'm like, whoa, wait, what's going on?
I'm in the zone now.
Yep, he is in the zone. Coffee. What is he in the zone for? Well, we're going to talk some great updates and a couple that were like, We're going to talk about those very shortly here. But we want to make sure you know that we are on all the socials that matter at 365MCS. So hit us up. If you're watching on YouTube, then hit us up in the comments down below. And if you're listening audio podcast, hi, everybody. You know, we have a great number of people that listen to auto podcasts.
There's probably more now that listen to the podcast than actually watch the show. That's my guess, right?
Right? There's a lot. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Really appreciate you.
This is the audible wave that I'm waving at the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Hit us up in the socials. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely.
What else do we need to say before we jump in, Daryl?
Well, we said that we're at 365 MCS.
Yeah, we did that.
We are also now trying to regularly go live and sort through the messages. So we've just done that. We had a couple of people join us, which was great. And it's also a good opportunity to talk through what is important to you and what you think is good. It was a bit messy this time around, but we're all about messy perfection. What else? We have also tried to create separate clips of some of the messages. This week around, we only did one or two just to make them a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
So let us know if that is useful to you. I think that's about it. Was there anything else on the notice board?
I don't think so. I think right now we just need to get into it.
Sure.
Let's crack on.
Okay, this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
What a transition. Web links in new Outlook for Windows to open side by side with email in Microsoft Edge. This is MC 803.892. When we first read this message, I reminded Daniel that there was this kind of behavior that happens in Teams right now. And it's when I first experienced it, I thought, why are we doing this? Why is it opening in Edge? I've chosen a different web browser for my default. Why? If you take a close look at Edge Chromium, you'll notice that there's a number of the different little applets and things down the side that bring information to you. Shopping and there's a Teams icon. And there's an Outlook icon there too. If you're signed into that web browser with your organizational account, then it will access your Teams experience, your Outlook experience. So that seems like a convenience. Like, maybe I'm preferred to use the app. But this is where it comes into play. Already seen it in Teams. Now it's coming to Outlook. If I click a link in a message in Outlook, it's going to open up the content on one side, I guess what you could say 2/3 of the page, and it'll have a sidebar where your email message is. So you can read the context of the email. Maybe there's some explanation about the link and what it's for, and maybe there's some questions about it that you need to respond to. And you can look at the content over in the body of the page, the stage, and work your way through that. And Daniel, have you not experienced this much before? Like, have you seen it much in Teams?
No,
Right.
I haven't. And I was trying to experience it when Daryl and I were working through this message, and I was in Teams clicking stuff and it wasn't happening, and I don't know. Maybe I'm special. I mean, I know I'm special.
Oh, yes, you're special.
So no, the biggest thing I have with this though is I like that Edge has that functionality. In fact, Edge is my browser. Sometimes I tell people that and they're like, "What? That's crazy." I'm like, really? Is it that crazy? It works really well and integrates with the stuff that I use. But for me, I don't. This is not something where it's going to open up a browser that I don't normally use. However, if I was using another browser by default, this opening up Edge, I think would bother me in a way of, hey, you're forcing me to use Edge. I think there is a pop-up where you can maybe change this functionality or just not open it up in Edge. Also, you said it before, you have to be logged in to your in the browser to your environment, or this won't work. So if you don't have Edge logged in, then maybe it just won't do the thing. I just feel like it's I don't know, it's a bit anti-competitive, maybe. I don't know. I got that kind of feeling, right? We're going to only open this on Edge. It's like, and I understand why, because of the functionality. I get it. I totally get it. It's just like, but what if I don't use Edge all the time? Then I don't want you to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's where some friction will be initially as people experience this change. But good news is that if you don't like it, you can turn it off.
That's right.
And maybe an organization could make that choice for you at the admin level. But that's the gist of the message. And this is, where's our rolling out? Begin rolling out in late July 2024 and complete by late September. And speaking of late September, September begins with S, and so does SharePoint.
Wow. I was wondering where you're going with it, and then...
And it has been a pain listening to me come up with that.
Wow. Microsoft SharePoint. New content pane for pages and news, MC 803-891. So this... We're used to pane on when we're editing a SharePoint, when we're listening to Daryl. When we're used to...
No, you said pane in SharePoint, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. But.
We're used to seeing the pane in SharePoint when we're editing a web part, right? It pulls up the options for web parts and everything. This is pulling up a pane for editing the page for content. So remember, news is just a page, special type of page anyway. And so you're going to be able to access these tools for when you're creating this page for different things. Like, and you can see in the screenshot that your toolbox is one that we'll be able to access web parts, stock images, which is nice. We don't have to, add an image web part. We can just, drag and use a stock image, do a search for, images right there. And then we also have section templates that allows us to change the way sections are being used and shown. So right there, without having to, click and add a web part. And it looks like, from the screenshot, it's not like they're changing that. We'll be able to add a web part and add a section, on the page manually, or the way we currently do it too. So that toolbox. And, it seems like that maybe there will be more things that they could add here, because the toolbox is the only thing we're seeing in that screenshot. But we'll see a properties pane properties is going to be in the content pane as well. So you're going to be able to see the properties of the page.
So how would you describe that? Because I was just thinking, could you call those three? There's the toolbox, the properties, and design ideas. Would you call those tabs for that pane or panel? They're not stylized that way, but you could think of it that way.
Yeah, I think that's probably, without Microsoft coming out and saying, here's what we call it and what you should call it, I think that's probably what I would call it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is, with those three, the toolbox, properties, and design ideas. Design ideas is something that Microsoft has talked about, that's bringing to be able to say, I've put content on the page, I want to make it look snazzy, give me ideas, very similar to the design ideas in like PowerPoint, right? It's going to be pretty slick. Which, some people really hate that PowerPoint, design ideas. I feel like for me, it is a good idea generator, meaning
Starting point.
Yeah, it's a starting point for me. So I use it as that. But
I think it's brand managers that have a problem with it.
Sure.
No, I put a lot of work into this slide deck. It's supposed to look like this.
Yeah, and design ideas is like, are you sure?
No, you need to slice that. Put that over here and add some Microsoft colors.
Yeah. For this rollout, targeted release early July 2024, so soonish, and expected to be completed by early August. General availability worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD, late July through late August 2024. Looking forward to it. Another thing that I'm looking for are messages in Teams. Can you help me with that, Daryl?
Yes, I'm looking for the message itself. I found it. Hey, it's like self-fulfilling. It wasn't even suggested to me. Microsoft Teams message results suggestions when typing to search. This is MC 805211. As you use the search box in Microsoft Teams, and we go there frequently because we can never remember where we said that thing or what was that file that person shared with me, we go to search and we find our way through using search filters. Now, you might notice that as you click into that search box, that it's almost like there's a quick way of using those filters without even going through to the search page yet. You can hit enter after you put your keyword in and boom, you've got your search page with your filters. But Microsoft are wanting to deliver an even faster search result. And so much so that they're going to prioritize messages. So as you type in that keyword, and we have an example in the screenshot of this message, you type in the word marketing, then you will see a quick rundown of the recent messages that have the word marketing in them. So that's cool. I think that's all to say about it, in my opinion, that it's just about trying to speed up that search experience. You can choose between the different filters that are there before you even hit enter and go through to that page. And maybe you'll see the result that you're after, so you can go directly through to the result. But what about that, Daniel? Would you find this useful?
I would.
Good.
It's supposed to be a quick mention, so I'm being quick.
All right.
I'm saying,
and I'll quickly go to this is rolling out targeted release. Begin early 2024 and mid July 2024, and general availability
worldwide.
Thank you. We'll begin mid-July 2024, expected complete late 2024. I need like a little sound deck where I can push the Daniel sound effects.
I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of sound effects, Daniel, I want to hear about being able to detect whether there will be screaming and yelling of people as they go, "Where did that channel go?"
Wow. I think we need a leaderboard of your transitions.
Weirdest transitions? I'm trying to get weirder today.
Apparently. Microsoft Teams, detecting and hiding inactive channels. MC 804771. That seems, just by the title, that seems great. Like inactive channels. If you're a member of a team that has a bazillion channels, yes, that's an official term. Bazillion channels, and you have to scroll, or you're having to look for a specific channel that you actually use and the rest you don't. Wouldn't it be nice if those things were hidden? So the ones that are not used are hidden and out of the way. well, that's what's happening here, is that Microsoft Teams will automatically detect and hide those channels that are inactive, that you haven't interacted with recently, and hide them for you. Now, great. Some questions that came to mind almost immediately when I read this was, what is determined, or how does Microsoft Teams determine what is inactive? Because it says recently you haven't interacted with it. Okay, what is recent? And how does it determine that? And then how often does it run? Is this just like a one-time thing? Is this a once every day, a week, once every month? Is it what is, is it when Teams starts? What is the frequency at which it's going to go through and determine? We don't have any of that information in this message. What is inactive and how often does this actually run and give you that input? We don't know, unfortunately. It would be great if we did. You as a user will be able to turn this off if you want. And you can still manually unhide. You can still manually show a channel that has been hidden by this process. I'm assuming, again, because it hasn't detailed it, I'm assuming if you do that, then Teams will not unhide it again. Maybe there's some sort of thing in the back end that says, hey, the user chose to show this channel and therefore don't suggest it anymore. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Because we haven't been told. But Daryl, you had a question though that this kind of brings up about, if a channel is hidden by this automatic process, right? By this process that goes, hey, here's some channels, that are inactive. Don't you want to hide these? But does this include general channel? Like how do we, right? How do we make sure, and your question was, how do you make sure you can actually communicate with people, right? In a team, right?
Yeah. I think that, we have three ways to get people's attention in Teams predominantly being used. Mention an individual. Hey, Daniel. He gets mentioned. He gets an activity feed. He knows that the message is for him. We can mention the whole team. Hey, team. Wherever we are in the team. And apart from private channels, of course, but anywhere else in the team, the whole team will get a notification. Hidden or shown channels included. Channels have always been, or channel mentions have always been like okay, sort of variable. We depend on people showing a channel so that they can see a channel mention. In general, had been shown for everyone till this. And recently,
unless they manually went in and could hide it.
Yeah, but you couldn't hide a general channel before.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And now it's going to happen for you. And this inactivity is actually not just I have been inactive in the channel, but the whole channel has been inactive for a period of time. Maybe the team has not been using the general channel for announcements. So we would potentially have that channel hidden, and then at mention in general means that we won't see that message. So I think we'll see people mentioning the team more to make sure that we get the message across.
Yeah. And potentially people hiding the general channel themselves, even, moving forward. So I think this is one of those try to clean things up, because teams can get very messy, meaning just a lot of teams and a lot of channels. And if you're looking for stuff, and I've always said this about Teams, it is very helpful in giving you a place to communicate. However, what it doesn't do well is organize content very well, right? I'm looking for this thing. Well, go up to search and do a search, and hopefully it'll find it. And generally it does. It's just got to know what you're searching for. But then when you find it, where do you find it? Like you find it and search and you click on it and it shows you in the main, but it doesn't show you over the left-hand side. Anyway, this, I think, presents a little bit of a dilemma, like you were saying, of how do we communicate with the team? You're going to have to mention the whole team in your channel. So will this remove the mentioning of channels? Will people just stop doing that because they're afraid that people won't see it because it's hidden? Maybe. I don't know. So let's everybody prepare, because when this will happen is a long list. Targeted release mid-July 2024 and rolling out through late July. Okay. General availability for worldwide mid-August through mid-September. GCC late September to early October. GCC high is early October to mid-October. DoD is late October to late October. It's one of those instant ones. It's a joke, everybody.
It's a range of late, though.
It's a range of late. So that's when it's rolling out. I think it's going to be good, but it may actually augment the way people start at mentioning. We called it here first.
We mentioned it here first.
Speaking of branding, I don't know. See, this is a terrible transition.
But it's a difficult title. I mean, how can you? I mean, if you clipped a bit more of it, then you might be a champion at these transitions.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay, now you know. Microsoft Clipchamp, the brand kit feature is rolling out with extended elements to Microsoft subscriptions. MC 805215. Clipchamp, the web-based web app for editing your videos, and it's available as a separate subscription, but it's also included in some subscriptions for Microsoft 365. Really good app for being able to take your meeting recordings, things that you've put into Stream, and maybe use Clipchamp to tidy that up and make it a little snazzy. Well, here's the snazzy part. Brand center, or brand kit rather. Being able to get that consistent look across your videos. Same font, same logos, color palette, and a number of different other elements too, like images, far out. Even, Daniel, it even allows you to store sound effects, backgrounds, what else was there? Stickers, video clips, sound effects. Yeah, so all these sorts of things that can help give your video a consistent look. Now, I'll ask you this now, Daniel, because I could go on for ages about it, but...
We know.
How many people are using Clipchamp to edit videos and might also find this useful? What sort of audience do you think this is going to find this useful?
Well, I think you asked two different questions there. Who's using it and who will find it useful? I don't know, and I'd like to see the telemetry on this. I don't know that it's being used that much because it's very late to the game. And people have their, those communicators, those content creators in organizations, which are the people I think will find this useful, to answer your second question, are already using other products. I think, they've been using other products to create these videos before. Now, that doesn't mean Clipchamp is not useful, nor does it mean that people might not, that they won't switch to it. I think with this integration, this brand kit integration with your org assets and how you're branding content within your organization, I think is a huge win for the team to get people to start doing more in Clipchamp. So I think that's who is really going to find this useful, but not just for creating content for themselves, but also enabling other people to create content using the correct branding content. I think that's going to be big.
Yeah, and that brings in the other part to this message about how that works. You can create your own brand, or rather almost like a set of assets you're going to use consistently across your videos. That will be stored in a folder in your OneDrive. But your organization can also create brand kits that can be reused. Those will be stored in your organizational assets library, which means they'll be available to anyone who has Clipchamp and can use those assets. So your internal communicators will be able to publish those sorts of things. Imagine if you're an organization that's big enough, you might want to have a divisional brand that could give consistent look and feel for your content as well. So there could be some definitely good things. And I think this is also going to connect somehow with the brand center and the brand elements that we see coming to SharePoint and other places too. So I'm excited to see what this all looks like, how it all works out. Targeted release, rolling out mid-July and complete late July, and general availability worldwide will begin rolling out July 2024 and complete late August. We've got a couple of quick mentions to finish off.
Yes.
And Daniel, I'm feeling a bit insecure about this one. I want you to reassure me.
Okay. Microsoft Teams. Tenant Federation setting to control external access with trial-only tenants. Yes. MC 805-200. This is it's really a security issue. And we have seen an uptick over the last, year. It's been many months, but let's call it a year, of spammers and phishers, that's with a PH, setting up trial tenants in Microsoft 365 and then using that to communicate, right? And trying to communicate through Teams specifically for this, trying to get people to talk with them through that federation in Teams to chat with them and give them information. Because it's actually pretty easy to do. If you don't have the settings locked down, the default is open, so you can communicate and federate with anybody, and they've just been trying to spam and phish people. So what this is doing, and it's rolling out on by default, is blocking external access with trial tenants. And trial tenant is defined as no paid subscriptions. So this is, it's not going to affect like guest access, meaning if you intentionally give someone access, if you have an anonymous meeting and allow anonymous joins, and so it's not going to affect that either. But it is specifically for that setting for that external communication. This is rolled out now, and there is a date on this that the blocking enforcement will start on July 29th. Okay. So we know, I think really we wanted to cover this because yes, I think this is a great thing and for security and for communication, but we wanted to cover it also. So if you're using trial tenants in some capacity, maybe this is something you do occasionally, whatever, you just have to realize that if you're using them to demonstrate some communication or something, it's going to be blocked after that time. So we wanted to cover that. There is some Teams PowerShell for this Tenant Federation setting that you can use to control this. It's called External Access with Trial Tenants. So you'll be able to do that. And lastly, Daryl, this is like sharing, we just talked about, communicating and sharing externally via Teams this way. Tell me about another way of sharing.
Microsoft 365 apps improved resharing experience. MC 805-212. Resharing being the operative word. Now let's make this a little more tangible. Daniel is a guest in my tenant. Hello, Daniel. I've got a document to share with you. Here you go. So I share it. I've got full choice of whatever my organization has configured for me as my sharing options. Maybe we've turned off the anyone sharing option, and I share it specifically with Daniel. I don't just give him a link, and Daniel's not in my organization, so I'm not going to choose those options. I share it specifically with him. Or maybe Daniel's in a team and he's only a guest in that team. He doesn't have access to anything else. So he has access to the documents in my team. Now let's say Daniel needs to share that with another member of his team. You know, he's helping me out in my organization with a task. Maybe he's, creating some things for me, and he's extending his ability to meet that deliverable with another person from his team. And I go, yep, tick, no problem, Daniel, yep, you can do that. How does Daniel share a specific document with a member of his team? This is resharing. And so the options that we have today at the moment, Daniel can share, but it will only allow him to share with people who have existing access. That's not his person from his team. Now, I think it's fair that I should have a bit of control over that process. Daniel shouldn't be able to just share that document without me knowing. But what this update introduces is when Daniel asks to share it with another person, then it makes a request for me to approve. Now, one thing that's missing in this message, we don't know what that looks like. We don't know what that approval process looks like. We, with all of our years of experience, we can say that it's probably going to be an email with a button in it and you can approve or deny, and it's probably going to look like classic SharePoint. I covered my mouth and quietly. Don't you think? Maybe.
No, I don't
adaptive card.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like one of those cards that has approve or deny. I think. I'm guessing here because guess what?
We don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good feature to have. It's just it would be good to know a little more about what this looks like so that we can say, this is available. Here's how you would interact with it. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
I agree.
Great. So this was another short message brought to you by the 365 Message Center show where Daniel shares his depth of experience and opinions. I agree.
That was hilarious. I agree. Yep, I do.
You agree with what? I said it was not a yes or no question.
No, I agree with everything you just said.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, so we have a rollout timeline of late June and complete early July for targeted release, general availability, all the acronyms, worldwide, GCC, GCCI, DoD, DAD, and OP. No, never mind. We will begin rolling out July 2024, complete mid-July 2024. All right. That was the last message. And thank you for finishing it off with your rich wisdom.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We really want to hear from you, so hit us up on the socials as well as the comments in the video. We'd love to hear from you and have a conversation. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time with episode 340.
That's the next one in the sequence. And the next part of the sequence is we wave and we say bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.